So if you think Selenium is just about clicking a button and calling it a day, think again. Today, we are going to do it all. Click, type, scroll, and check the navigations back and forth. Basically, give a browser a good workout. And yes, we are going to use one HTML page for it to practice it like pro. Okay. So in real world automation, it's not enough to just find elements. You have to interact with them. You have to know exactly how to check their states and to retrieve their data on runtime. Even navigating in a browser to and fro or to a particular URL at given instances. So this tutorial covers the bread and butter interaction that every Selenium tester must master. Let's head back to our PyCharm. I have listed out all the topics that we are going to discuss in this video. Similarly, I have created a HTML page to practice it as well. In our PyCharm, let's first see what are we going to click. So this is our click action. Go here and let's figure out what is the XPath or what is the locator for it. So this is a button. Straightforward. ID is btn clear. I'm going to copy it, paste it, driver dot find element, and we'll say by id, and let's paste it. This one is dot click. The next one is typing into inputs. So I'm not going to execute it for each of the line of code that we are going to write. I'll just see whichever is like more doable or whichever actually requires some execution, then only I'll execute it. Let's inspect this text box, and it is again id is input field. So we'll again say driver dot find elements, and then I'm going to remove this. I'll say id and the value here. This is a text box, so I'm going to dot send keys, and what do you want to enter? Hello world. All right. Now similarly, after writing hello world, I am going to wait for certain seconds. So let's wait for like 5 seconds here. So I'll say time dot sleep, and I'll say just wait for 4 seconds. This is throwing error because I haven't imported it. Go to this button, import this name. All right, time dot sleep. And what we were trying to do, we were trying to again use the same thing, and to clear a field you can either send the backspace button or you can just say clear. Right, clear. Straightforward. Again, forms is one more thing. So to submit a form, there are two options. So if you see the page here is my form. You have to enter these 3 fields, hit on submit button, and then you will be able to submit a form, right? So there are two options. Either you can click on this button or you can directly send the submit command from your script itself. All right. So for that, you need to know the form ID. Let's first inspect this. So if you, sorry, not the form ID, but the allocator for the form, right? So this is my form ID. I'm going to copy this. Now this form ID is going to sit here saying driver dot find elements by ID, and this ID is changed to this. Now submitting a form is dot submit. So this will submit the form, but to submit the form you also have to fill in these fields. I have pasted it here as well. If you want, you can also take a reference of it and paste it there, right? This is just for your practice. And then it says we have to get the text property, or let's first run this much. It will open my application, maximize the window. So this is my hello world. It's written, it cleared it. Now it clicked on submit and the form submitted successfully message came. So now we see after this form is submitted, this particular message is displayed. Now the next thing we want to validate is whether my form was submitted successfully or not. Right? How do we do that? So I'll first inspect this, right click inspect, and so this paragraph has an ID success message, right? So let's copy this, head back to my UI after submitting. So we want to now check whether this particular text is present or not, right? So the success message here. So this success message is present or not. So what are we validating here? We are going to say driver dot find element by dot id, and what is the id? I just copied it from my UI and it is success message dot. So instead of submit, it's going to be dot text. Now since we are getting at the text property, I need to store it in a variable as well. So I'll say my UI or submit text. Submit underscore text is equals to this. And the next thing I want to do is I want to compare it with the actual text message. So I'll write if submit text is equals to what text should it be? It should be this text. I'll copy this and I'll paste, right? So if it is this, then you are going to print. What are you printing? You're just I'll just print the text, or if you want, we can just have a custom message as well. Form submitted successfully. You can also keep it this way, or you can also use submit text. It's up to you how you want to validate. And if this is not the case, then you are going to use an else, going to have a message printed there as well. Clear? So what we did here, we filled in the forms, we submitted the form using submit command. After that, we went on our UI, we tried and extracted a text from the screen and then validated whether it's the actual text that I'm expecting or not. Clear? Let's run this. Okay, so it entered a text, waited, and it will clear this. Yeah, so it went here and form submitted successfully came on my screen. Let's see what happened in my PyCharm. It says form submitted unsuccessfully. Now, why is this? Let's debug this. So this is also one way how you are going to approach your script when it fails. So you are going to add a debug point here, go in the debug mode, and then let it run. So what happens now is it will again open the form. It will fill in until this submit, and it will wait for my command from here, from line 31. So it came here and it's waiting for my instruction, what I have to do next. So if you see the buttons here, so first one is step over. I'm going to use step over to go to the next line. I'll click this. And if you see here, what is the mistake? I am missing this emoji. So we have figured out our issue. Now, how do we work around this problem? So one way to do is we can have, instead of just giving equals to, I'm going to write, now the condition changes. Okay, if this particular string is in, and I'm going to give my text. Now what it does is, in this submit text, it is going to check whether this particular text is present. Then I'm going to say it passed my test. Let's rerun this. Oh, I again debugged it. No worries. I'm going to skip the debug point. So let it come. So it came here. Now I'm going to say resume the program. So from here it will resume and it will print whatever it encountered. So it says form submitted successfully. All right, clear until here? Now moving on. Now we are going to check how do you retrieve an URL, or how do you retrieve a property from your screen or from your application. So this is an example link and it takes you to a example.com page. Okay, that doesn't matter to us. So I want to get this link. All right. So let's first inspect this. So from here, what I'm going to write is driver.find element and by ID. And what is the ID value? This is the ID value. But in this particular element, what I want to do is I want to get the value of this particular link. So say this is my link. So it's taking me to where example.com. So I should get example.com in my code. I don't want to navigate it to that particular link, but I want to check. Okay. So this concept, or using this concept, you can build. There are questions like, how do you find broken links in your UI? This is the first step there. So you have to get all the URLs first. We are going to use a find element method, but if you use find elements and get all the links or all the all the anchor tags, and then get their attribute and check whether those attributes are working or not. Now coming back to our example, so what we are going to do here is we want this particular example.com to be returned here. So I'll say dot get attribute, and href is the attribute. Why href? Because if you are going to inspect this, so href will contain the actual URL where it has to go. So I want this href property. If I have this, what do you want? You will want to store this in a variable. So I'll say URL is this. I will just print it for now. Okay, I'm going to print my URL. Right, this is one. The next thing that we are going to see here is how to get the CSS property of an element. If you go to your browser again, say this is a text which is blue in color, right? So I want to get this color property maybe to see whether what is the color of it, right? Or you can also get the font size, everything you can get it. So I'm going to inspect this. This is my style. It says color blue. This is kind of inlined CSS that I have given for just this example, but in actual you can have other things also. We'll do both of it. You don't see a font size here, right? But if you want to run with font size, you'll get that font size also because that is sitting in a separate CSS file. All right. Okay. Coming back to my example, I'll say driver dot find element, and what exactly is this element? Inspecting it. ID is CSS example. So I'm going here and I'll say value of CSS property and I'll say color. Now using the same example, I'm going to get the font size as well. I'll say font hyphen size. So these font size and other properties, they are in your CSS file. So if you are new to debugging in the CSS thing, or if you are not aware of it, I suggest you check out my initial videos. I have talked about it in my initial videos. So this is the font size that I am getting, and both of these should be stored in a variable. So let's say I'll say txt underscore color is this, txt underscore size is this. Right now, what I want to do, I'll just say print. I'll use an f string. The value of font color is text color, and the value of font size is text size. Let's run this. Also, what I want to do is I'm going to remove this 4-second of wait. Let's run. Submitted. Execution finished. Now, if you see here, what we were expecting, first thing was form submitted successfully. Second thing was this URL that we pulled back from get attribute. Third thing was value of color, and the next one was the font size that we had. So font size is 20px. Now if you see here, it doesn't give you the color name, say red, green, blue, like that. Instead it says RGBA. So red, green, blue. So blue is 255. That indicates that it's a blue color. If you also want to get the color, then the other way around is you have to give font hyphen color. Okay, so this would give you the color reference of your element. So these were inside my element interactions. The next one that we are going to see is the visibility or the state of your objects. Let's first take example. Let's go back to our browser and let's see the state. So this is one state where we are going to check whether it is checked or unchecked. If it is unchecked, we'll check it, and if it is checked, we'll uncheck it. We'll write a logic in that way. All right. We'll also check whether a particular button is disabled or enabled, and we will try to check whether a particular hidden text is displayed or not. Right. So right now it's not displayed. When I click here, it comes up. All right. We are going to check whether it is displayed or not, whether it is visible or not. Right. So let's head back to our examples. And the first thing that I want to do here is I want to see whether this particular checkbox is checked or not. So let's inspect this. Where is my checkbox? Okay, so it says label for this, and this is my checkbox. Right now, this is my ID. Now coming back here, driver dot find element by ID, and ID is the same. Checkbox is equals to this, and printed for now is selected. All right, and this is not the right place for this code. It should be here, and this is the display element that we are trying to do here is. So for this we are going to go here. The hidden element is right here. So, let's inspect this. Hidden text is the ID. Now in my script I am again going to say driver dot find element by ID, and this is my ID. Instead of this I'm going to say dot is displayed element underscore state is equals to this. right? And use the f string. The value of hidden text is this. So this was done, and again, the third thing here is whether it is enabled or not, right? So this is my disabled button. I'll inspect this. So this is the button ID, button underscore state is equals to driver dot find element by ID. What you want, we'll say is enabled. So we are doing three things here. The first one is whether a particular element is displayed or not. The second one is the element where we are checking whether it is enabled or not. So it is disabled, right? So it should return me a false. Third one, what we are doing is we are taking a checkbox and we are seeing whether it is checked or not. So let's run this again. All right. So what did it say? The value of hidden text is false. Why false? Because my hidden text is it displayed or not? So it says it's not displayed. So it returned me false, right? Now the second one was whether it is enabled or not. So anyways, it's going to return a false, right? Because it is not enabled. Now the third one was whether it is selected or not. So this was also not selected. Now what we are going to do is with the hidden text option that we have here. So hidden text comes up once you click on this button, right? So first we are going to come and check whether this particular text is displayed or not. Then we are going to click on this button. This text will come up and then again we'll verify the state of the element. So how do we do that? To do this, I need this particular text box has an ID. Let's copy this driver dot find element by ID and you click on this button. Then you again go and check. So what I'm doing is first I'm checking the element state. Now I'm clicking on this button. Now the hidden text will come up. So this time it should return me a true rather than just having false here. Similarly, we can also do it here. If you want, we'll say, we'll check the button. We'll click on the checkbox. So how do we do that? Simple. We just have to pass on the click command, right? And we'll again say print value. All right. So let's rerun this. Where is this happening? Oh, it already executed. Okay. Let me go back. What happened here? Where is the code not working? This is element not interactable exception, it says. So what is element not interactable? That means it is not able to click that particular text box, checkbox. Let's go back here and understand checkboxes. Okay. So if you come here, you are manually able to click it, but click it through the script, it says it's not able to interact. Now what we'll do is we'll try to, instead of just clicking on the checkbox, I'm going to use a different approach. The ideal approach when dealing with checkboxes and radio button is to click on its parent label. So this is my input type checkbox. Now the next thing is label for this particular checkbox. How do we click on this label? One approach is we can write an XPath to it. So it says for check agree, right? XPath should always start with / elementary and I forgot it. All right. This sits here. Now this should work. Let's rerun this. You see it clicked this time, right? So the first time the hidden text was false. We clicked on the button and then it became true. Now same thing was with the button state, but we cannot change the state. The third one we saw here was when the first time the checkbox was there, we were not able to click on it. We did a change. We clicked on the label instead, and then we checked for the checkbox. It became true. Clear until here? So this was 3 type of checks that you are going to do on your elements. Let's comment this. Moving on. Now these are pretty straightforward. These are kind of the keyboard commands that that you can inject in your script. So say you want to hit enter. So you are going to use send keys with this keys dot enter, right? So you can use those predefined commands to send an instruction, like the keyboard button commands that you want to pass to your script, right? So using this is pretty straightforward. So how you are going to do, you are going to say send keys this. All right. hit enter, you are going to, on this button, you are just going to say send keys, just use single keys dot return. Now you'll have to import this keys as well. Similarly, you can change this option and try around. This is pretty straightforward. I'm not going to run any specific examples on this. You can also send control A, control plus B, those things as well. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is browser navigations. So how you can get the particular URL, how you can navigate to a URL, and how you can go back. What we will do is, we had seen there was a link, right? Where was the link in our page? So we will first extract this particular URL's link. We'll set a command in our browser to go to a particular browser and then come back and do a refresh. Let's first inspect this, copy the property, driver.find element by ID. What is my ID? ID is link example, and from here I want to get attribute href, and this I'm going to store it in URL1. This URL1 now stores the next URL where we want to go. How do you set your WebDriver to go to a URL? Driver.get URL1. The next thing is, now this will go to the example.com page. Now I want to come back. So I'll say driver.back, right? So it will come back. If you want, you can again go to the forward. It's just for demoing. I'll say driver.forward and then do a refresh here, right? Refresh. If you want, we can check the particular browser's the current URL as well, where it is pointing to. So we are going to use driver.current URL printed directly. So what we are doing, we are first extracting the example.com text from my page, navigating to the URL, coming back to my page, again going back to the example.com, refresh the page, and then we are getting the current URL on our console. Let's run this. So it's still loading. You see here, it's still trying to do something on the page. Yeah, it's doing something. So it navigated to example.com. All right. So it did all the 3 steps. Now the last thing that we are going to see here is scrolling to a particular element. Now to do that, that is also pretty straightforward. You just have to identify which element you want to scroll to. Suppose you are going to scroll to this element. Okay. Let's just say this target text that I have given here. I'm going to inspect this. And what is the ID? It says scroll target, right? So I'm just copying it, and we are going to use a different command here. We are going to use the execute script command. So let's first get the object driver.find element by ID and scroll target ID, driver.execute script, argument 0 dot scroll to view, and which element? To this element, right? So what it will do is, it will take your page, or it will scroll your page to that particular URL. To that particular element. Let's run this. What happened? Something mismatched. Find element by typos. If you see, it scrolled the page towards the end where this was my target element, and it directly came here by scrolling the page, right? Now in the next one, what we are going to do is, we are going to just give a coordinate x and y, go scroll until this page. Okay, scroll until this much. So it's plain English. We'll say driver.execute script first, and what we want to do is not this. What is that? It's a window, right? So we'll say window in double quotes. We'll say window to scroll by. And where do you want to scroll by, or how much do you want to scroll by? I'll say just scroll by, say 500 pixels. So this is my 0 and this is my 500. Close the bracket and we are done, right? Let's execute this as well. So I'm going to comment the first one. So what I'm expecting to happen is, it will open the page and it will just scroll 500 pixels in your page. All right. You see, so it already scrolled, like here, it was right here, right? These are something you should be by-hearted with. You don't have to use a reference, or you don't, I mean, these things should be in your mind whenever you are scripting. If you are very new to it, you can write it down in a page and keep it in front of you and practice using that page until and unless you are by-hearted or you are very freely using these commands. Keep that page in front of you. All right. So on this topic, I think this is all what I had, and this is all what I wanted to talk about. So practice this on our HTML playground page that we had shown you. Tweak the locators and see what happens. If this helped you, hit the like button and share it with your fellow testers. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, keep learning and stay curious.